Hi, West Coast Swing teachers. Tessa here. I'm going to be giving you a little bit of a walkthrough of the insides of the Teacher Development Program. This is our swing literacy development method, proprietary program specifically for West Coast Swing teachers to upgrade and enhance the teaching they already know how to do and make it more efficient, fun, and effective to teach West Coast Swing using a totally different approach. So what we're going to be doing here is hopefully you've seen this website already, this page, and it explains a lot about the how we created the teacher development program and where it came from, the swing literacy method, some testimonials, and what you can expect as your students start enjoying the effects of you training in it. Then we go through explaining exactly what's inside of the program. So it consists of two different sections, the theory module and the practicum project and practicum projects, and all of these can be delivered in a couple of different versions. There's a DIY version and also a fast track coaching version, and as well as a group version if you're in a studio with a bunch of teachers. So what I'd like to do is give you a sneak peek inside. So let's go look at the first page, the introduction page of the theory module for teachers. So this is where it starts, just giving you a bit of a setup and orientation. But what I wanted to scroll down to is this part, which is the basically a table of contents in the form of a mind map. So here you see we've got the two sections, the theory module and the teaching practicum. Theory module is 30 hours of online coursework that's done in multimedia format, so you can read and also observe little tutorial videos on exactly how to do the swing literacy method, way of teaching, and why. And it's broken down into 6 different units. So you can see Unit 1 starts off with learning theories, and what we've done is we've taken all of our research and broken it down into specifically what West Coast Swing teachers need to know about West Coast Swing, how they can use science of learning and pedagogy to enhance what they're doing. So there's lots of West Coast Swing examples. It's very specific for West Coast Swing. We don't waste any of your time on things that you don't need to know. So in Unit 2, we go into specifically the skill development aspect of it, and this is where we take traditional method and flip it upside down and teach skill development method instead, which is what all sports are based off of on the planet, and show exactly how we would do that for West Coast Swing to build West Coast Swing skills. Speaking of West Coast Swing skills, that's what Unit 3 is for. So Unit 3 is about double the size of all the other units, and what we do there is we break down all of the different personal and partnership skills, basic fundamental skills that are building blocks that will eventually get to the patterns. The patterns are going to be explained here, and also throughout the rest of the course. However, it's the skills that make the difference. So let's actually look at this one, partnership momentum skills. You can see exactly what a lesson looks like. This one's a significantly long one because it's such a juicy topic. So we go through exactly why you need this type of information and exactly all the gory details that are often missing from many classes. But this is something that we specialize in, is getting through the science and making it accessible to teachers and students. Like I said, it's a multimedia course, so there's lots of video tutorial examples, tons and tons of drills and skill progressions. So you're able to see exactly the process you would use to teach your classes. And what I wanted to get down here was this little example here. Here's just a little bit of the drills that we recommend for teachers to really help their students get the feel of the elasticity of the dance. So if you want to get a quick little takeaway, you can pause the screen here and resume the video later. But let's move on. Let's go back to our map. So we've got Unit 4. I love this one. This is where it all comes together. You take all those skills and all those drills, and then you have to figure out how to actually implement them into your classes. And a lot of teachers are confused about that aspect. And it's the sequence that makes the difference. What to teach in what order. So being able to structure and plan and prioritize your skills to build stronger dancers. One of my favorite ones here is the troubleshooting and diagnostics lesson. And that looks like this one here. Troubleshooting and diagnostics, and this is where we address a lot of the common errors that students have in West Coast Swing, and we teach you exactly how to treat them. So we go into specific reasons why some of these issues are happening, such as followers coming forward on one, such as leaders not using their body to lead, such as pulling with their arms. We tell you exactly what's going wrong, how to fix it, and where to find the rest of it in their theory module. Another one of the units is called the skills of teaching, and this is where my education background comes in. If you've read anything about me, you know I've got a coaching background, which is where all the skill development comes from, but also an education background. And so all the pedagogy training that I've got for teaching school also applies to teaching West Coast Swing, and here's where I've filtered it specifically for West Coast Swing teachers, so you don't have to waste time going and doing all this research for yourself. We've audited it and curated it specifically for you. So one of the juicy lessons I wanted to show you inside of this teaching techniques of teaching aspect is the scaffolding one, and that is how you get your students to do more than just listen to your lecturing about technique, but actually teach them how to build and appreciate technique for themselves. So here's a much shorter lesson than the other one, but a good example of how to coach your students to build those skills themselves as opposed to spoon feeding it or lecturing to them. And if you wanted to walk away with another nice little juicy tidbit from this video, then this would be a good idea to pause at this spot and for some takeaways there. This is exactly how you would avoid the traditional method pattern bias. So if you're wondering what the opposite of that would be, there you go. So let's go back to the map. So now we've covered the skills of teaching. The last one is the business of teaching. Now, I'm not going to tell you how to run your business, but with all of our years of experience, there's certain things that we have learned and we want to pass on to the teachers so that they know what pitfalls are out there and how to avoid them, specifically in the areas of accountability, credibility, risk management. And then the communication and marketing is something actually we're going to be developing more of in the future. So you can look forward to that. But it's a lot of these things are things that teachers have not actually put any time into thinking about. So we've done all the thinking for you. Now that covers most of the theory module, but remember there's this whole other practicum section. So what happens is after each one of these units, there's an assignment. And the assignment is pretty short. It's a Google Doc. It looks like this. So after each one of those units, we stop and do an assignment, and it takes usually most people about 2 hours-ish to complete. But they keep reporting over and over again that they actually really enjoy the assignments because it forces them to think about how they teach and how they apply those things from the theory module into their teaching, which embeds the learning deeper and makes it more personal and relatable to you. And also we get to offer you personal feedback on each of these assignments so that you know that you're on the right track. So what happens is at the end of each one of these assignments, we actually recommend some of the practicum projects that would be appropriate to start at this point. So the practicum projects are overlapping assignments that you can start during the theory module, but there's a whole menu of them. It's not just required reading or something like that. There's a huge list of them, and each one of them is worth a certain amount of credits. So let's have a look at the practicum page here. Here you have the menu and how many credits each one is worth. And what we've done is collected a group of projects that can be completed online without us needing to be present with you. And so that way we make it accessible to teachers around the world, and you can choose which projects you do according to your teaching goals and needs and environment and circumstance that you're in. So you can probably see here that there's some that you would definitely be interested in, some that you would definitely not apply to you. That's totally fine. You only have to accumulate 8 credits worth for your certification. Besides the practicum, another way that we want to make sure that swing literacy teachers are never left in the dark and you know exactly how to implement this new method in your teaching, we make sure you have a community to connect with. So you are, as soon as you get enrolled in the Swing Literacy Teacher Development Method or Teacher Development Program, you are automatically a member of the Teacher's Lounge, which is where you can collaborate and share ideas and problem solve with fellow teachers who can speak your language. Then, besides that, we also have an entire resource library full of documents and templates and worksheets and ways that you can organize your content and your information so that you can make your job easier as a teacher, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel and start from scratch. We've done it all for you. And we continue to add to this resource library all the time. Got some really cool projects planned for 2020. So this is something that is like so worth it all by itself. But in order to be able to use these tools, you have to have had the theory module understanding and concepts so that you can really maximize how these tools can work for you. All of this module is available both in the DIY version, where you can start by yourself and complete it on your own, or in a fast track coaching version, which means that you get 6 months of coaching one-on-one with us, or in a 12-week bootcamp version, which is where you join in with the teachers from your studio or from your club and study it together. So each one of those includes the theory module and the practicum content. So we can discuss which one is right for you in a teaching impact strategy session if you'd like to. But in the meantime, you can take advantage of the sale that ends on the 20th and become a superhero to your students. So thanks for watching.